Hi guys, this is English with LinguaTrip, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you my thoughts on how to approach language learning in 2022. I created a little chart for you, so I'll be going through different stages of this chart, and you can also download this image by clicking on the link in the description box. And I'm going to start with this corner right here. I drew a little spiral and 3 exclamation marks just to remind you how important it is to keep in mind that learning is not a linear process. There are always ups and downs, and sometimes you may feel that you are walking in circles doing the same thing, but the truth is you might be approaching similar concepts on different levels. So don't worry about having to repeat something, to revise, to review, do something again. I'm sure that you are approaching it from a different angle and you're already on a different level. And a spiral, even though it moves in circles, will take you from point A to point B. Also, at the start of your journey, it's really important to know your point A. Where are you starting from? If you need some help defining your point A, you can ask a specialist, you can ask a teacher, or you can visit a website, for example, a LinguaTrip website, and do a special test to check your English level. If you're interested in assessment of, some particular skill, like public speaking, then you can also ask a teacher or an educational specialist of some sort. So yeah, don't feel bad if you have to ask for help. Help is always there. Once you found out what your point A is, it's time, and you guessed it right, to set your goal. And that's the next stage. Be specific and be honest with your goals. Achieving some level can be a goal, I guess, if you need to hit a certain bar. If, for example, if you want to study at a university abroad and they have particular English language requirements. So yes, that might be your goal, I guess, but then again, you need to understand what it means. We'll get there in a little bit. If you're not learning English for some formal qualifications, so your goals could be studying as a process. For example, if you want to study medicine abroad, that's a particular area, it's particularly niche. If you want to travel, what type of traveling, which part of the world? Maybe you want to learn English so that you could understand your favorite YouTubers. That's also a goal. Why not? Just be honest with yourself. If that's something that makes you happy and that's the reason for you to learn English, that's great. Thinking about your goals, you are setting your point B. So you found out your point A before, and now you know your point B. Moving on. Once you've done that, we're moving to a very important stage of this process. It's assessing your resources. Again, be transparent, be very honest with yourself. What kind of resources you have that are available to you: time, money, social support, a teacher. Are you able to find a teacher? It can be a tutor, it can be what they call a community tutor, maybe somebody who is not qualified but can still help you learn the language. We're talking about materials here. Do you have books? Do you have videos or audio materials? Are they adapted for learning or they're not adapted? What kind of apps do you have available? So have a look at all those resources, because it's really important to know what to choose from what you have out there. Also, don't forget about your motivation and about your energy levels, about your effort, the effort that you're able to put into the process. Maybe your commitment is not that strong. Again, be honest with yourself. After you've done that, after you've analyzed your resources, check back with your goal. What you might find is that if you don't have many resources available to you, maybe your goal is not really realistic for that time, for the particular time that you set it for. Maybe if you don't have any teacher or any money to hire a teacher, or if you don't have time to study, maybe getting a certain grade at an IELTS exam or a TOEFL exam, maybe it's not a realistic goal. Then you need to adjust either your goal or your resources. If you can't do anything about your goal, if there is a very strict deadline, then you have to do something about your resources. Maybe invest more time, maybe get somebody else to help you, surround yourself with better social support. You know, some people who are also preparing for that exam. So these two things, your goals and your resources, they should be working together. Okay, now that we've checked back with our goal and analyzed our resources, you can see this little blue arrow. It means that we need to keep our goal in mind and ask ourselves this question: what will I need to be able to do? So say, if I want to study medicine abroad, what will I need to be able to do in English then? And I have little signs here for you, little icons. What is meant here is, what will you be listening to, if anything at all? What will you be writing, reading, or what will you need to say? For example, you'll need to be able to write academic essays, or read academic literature, or make presentations, or write medical reports. So write down those specific skills that would feed into your overall goal. If your goal is to just watch your favorite YouTubers, then maybe the answer to this question will be understanding particular vocabulary. You know, YouTubers have those videos like reaction to something. So understanding those phrases will make it easier for you to watch and enjoy their videos. But in that case, if that's what your goal is, do not expect that your speaking will improve, because it's not a part of your goal. So that's why these two are interconnected. If you're making a career, if you're building a career and you're doing maybe customer support, what will you need to do then? Maybe you will need to be able to understand somebody speaking on the phone, or you will need to respond in writing, by typing a message with recommendations to help out that customer, etc., etc., etc. Think about exact actions, exact operations that you will have to be able to do. Once you've done that, ask yourself, how will I learn? And this is something that teachers usually do. So if you have a teacher mentioned in your resource analysis part, then a lot of this your teacher will help you with, or your teacher will just do it. If you're not planning on having a teacher, or if you want to try and do things by yourself, then I split, to give you some ideas, I split the answers into 3 categories. So how will I learn? First, I need examples. If I want to give a presentation, I need to have good examples of presentations, right? So maybe I will collect 20 TED Talks on a certain subject, right? So that would be a good example to follow. How will I practice? Let's see. You can practice by copying and analyzing the example, and then recreating and creating your own. There are lots of ways of doing that, and your teacher who studied teaching methodology would know how to approach everything. But if you're doing it by yourself, pick good examples where you're going to take them from, decide on how you're going to practice, what exactly you will be doing to practice, and very important, how will you be receiving feedback? Again, if you're enrolled in a course, if you are learning in a group, or you have a private teacher, then they will give you feedback. By the way, we've collected 10 lessons on the most popular and difficult topics from our top courses into one intensive course. This is based on the feedback from 13,846 students. Click the link in the description box and improve your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation and listening skills in just 10 days. Or maybe in addition to that, or if you don't have a teacher at all, there are different sources of feedback. It could be your audience, if you're giving speeches, if you're giving presentations, if you decided to start a YouTube channel in English. So your audience can be the source of your feedback. or it can be your peers, your friends. It can be just somebody you know, if you do like a language exchange when you pick a person and you decide to teach each other your own languages, it can be that person who's not a qualified teacher but can still help you correct your mistakes. But also remember that feedback coming from different sources can also be of different quality. And if feedback is of a poor quality, it might slow you down on your way to the goal that you set for yourself. So keep that in mind and think about the quality of the feedback and how important it is. If you're preparing for an exam, then I'd say that the quality of feedback is really important. If your goal is to travel and be able to feel confident and comfortable in a restaurant by asking the waiter lots of questions about the dish, then maybe the quality of feedback is not that important, because you know, you can make some mistakes in that kind of setting. That's okay. So assess how important that is and choose the source of your feedback. Once that's done, move to planning and scheduling. Here we have a little blue arrow that takes us back to our resources. What does that mean? It means that when you plan, remember what resources you have available, how much time, how much effort. Be honest with yourself. If you're not ready to learn English every day after work, do not plan it in. It's not amongst your resources. So be careful with that. Plan and schedule according to your resources and act on your plan. Of course, this is where action happens. So we don't just prepare and plan. You might ask, why did we do all that to start acting just at the end? Well, action becomes more effective if you put a lot of thinking into the preparation. So I also drew this little person here who says, why do I need all this? Well, believe me, if you've done all the preparation stages properly, then you'll see that it's much easier to start acting on your plan, because you will know exactly what you need to do. You'll have your examples, you'll have your materials, you'll have your practice plans, etc., etc. And also what else is important to do is track your progress. Well, you can use different tools. You can use paper, notebook, and create some kind of worksheets. You can use tests to track your progress. You can use your teacher's feedback, depending on what exactly you're tracking. Okay, so track your progress. Check if you've already achieved your goal. If your goal was to get a certain grade at an exam or to be able to give a presentation on a certain subject, maybe you've already achieved it. And then your point B becomes your new point A, and you need to think of a new goal. So think about that. If you haven't achieved your goal yet, have a look at what else is there to do in order to achieve that goal. So keep going through that cycle, and then you start the cycle all over again. But when you've done it several times, it will become so much easier to plan, to look for resources. You'll figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So yeah, the process becomes a lot easier. There's another important element to this chart. It's right here in the corner. Is a little heart and a broken heart, and the question, how are you feeling? So this is something that you should be asking yourself. How are you feeling? Are you still motivated? Are you upset? Are you frustrated? It's very important to keep an eye on your emotional state. Sometimes we face criticisms, we face harsh comments, harsh assessment if we deal with maybe formal education. Unfortunately, there can be any kind of situation. Sometimes we're not in a good mood and it has an impact on all other spheres of our life. So keep asking yourself how you're feeling, and again, you can plan it into your resources. You can plan some emotional support there. Maybe you have a best friend and your best friend will help you cope with those problems. Think about that. Emotional health and emotional state is really important in learning, so don't forget about that. Well, there we go. This is how you can approach language learning and be more prepared for it in 2022. I hope you found this chart useful. You can download it by clicking the link in the description box. Thank you for watching this video until the end, and I'll see you next time.